Is the whole greater than the sum of its parts? The Ellipse is a 60% board designed by Skepur, aka Funderburker. He's designed a few banger keyboards including the Timo 50% and the Onyx Efroless TKL, but this is his first 60% design. It comes in both wing-key and wing-keyless options and a variety of different colors like the ice blue seen here, pure red, dark green, and a dark gray. In the box you've got a carrying case, the board, your choice of a hot swap or solder PCB, gaskets, a 58 Duro Gummy O-ring, a set of burger mount O-rings, and a Sangan layout, which is 7U, aluminum plate. There are additional add-ons available like carbon fiber, palm, and FR4 half and or full plates depending on the material, and a foam dampening kit that's optional. Now you might be wondering why there are different types of O-rings in the build, and that's because the thing that makes this board stand out in a sea of 60% is its customizability. So let's talk about the different mounting methods that are available for the Ellipse. You've got the OG top mount, burger mount, gasket mount, and gummy O-ring mount, along with different various hybrid mounts so that you can customize the sound and feel of your board to your exact preferences. Take a listen to a quick typing test in the different mounting configurations with the optional FR4 full plate and the hot swap PCB. Switches are Gatoron X linears lubed with Krytox 205G0 and filmed with Desk Keys films. Here's the sound test right after you customize that like button. Oh no. Swapping out the different configurations is pretty simple, and I was able to swap between all 4 different tested configurations in under 15 minutes. It was interesting to see how the different mounting configurations really affected the overall typing experience from the type feel to the sound signature. The top mount added a bit more hollowness to the overall sound, and while the hollowness went away by adding the O-rings for the burger mount, I think my favorite mounting style on this board is definitely the gasket mount, which had a soft but balanced type feel and a very neutral sound. One thing to note about the Gummy O-ring was it was a little disappointing because the O-ring didn't exactly suspend the PCB and plate between the top and bottom case very well, which led to contact between the gasket protrusions on the plate and the bottom case. The contact between the case and plate kind of handicaps the potential of the Gummy O-ring mount, and so I don't know if I would recommend it. On the other hand, that could be because I was using a very soft O-ring that I took off my Back & Echo 60, and results may differ with the stock 58 Duro O-ring that's included in the kit. I just couldn't find mine. That being said, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, the good. I really like the slight elliptical curve on the top-down profile of the board because it's just different enough from the sea of metal rectangles that we see every day in this hobby. It gives it a really classy look, and I'm a big fan of the ice blue. Also, the 6mm typing angle and the modest 20mm front height with the rounded edge where the palm makes contact with the board makes the Ellipse a joy to type on during extended use. Of course, the biggest selling point of this board is the level of customizability that you get, which makes it almost like 4 different keyboards in one. It's clear that Funderburker, or I should say Skepur, put a lot of thought into this keyboard design from a UX standpoint. From the small indentations in the case for the burger mount O-rings to the easily removable gaskets. It's the little touches like these that really elevate a board from mid-tier to top class from a design and usability perspective. However, the one ugly about this board is the price. At $385 for the board with a hot swap PCB, the board will cost just around $400 shipped to your door. While that was the going rate for a premium custom keyboard a year ago, it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow when you now have aluminum CNC'd keyboards with a lot of extras for half the price. Even though the brass accent piece is a nice touch, I don't think it's doing much from either a weight or acoustic perspective. So it would have been nice to see the board drop the accent to cut the cost. And when you have a board like the Maker Keyboard's Alexa, which offered even more flexibility from a mounting perspective for $150 less before shipping, the customizability alone can't justify the extra cost. So then you might be asking yourself, why does this board cost $400? To answer that question, you have to understand where the $400 is going to compared to the simpler design of the aforementioned half the cost boards like the Alexa. For a CNC machined item like a mechanical keyboard, you're paying for the time it takes to keep the machine running. A plain metal rectangle can be easily and quickly machined on a 3-axis mill. But when you add rounded edges like you have on the Ellipse, you're typically going to need a 5-axis machine, which drives up the cost or exponentially increases machining time on a 3-axis machine. And all the thoughtful design touches like those indents for the burger mount add to the time it takes to machine the board, which also drives up the price. If you're just getting into the hobby, there are plenty of boards out there that will give you a similar experience of one chosen mounting system if you're on a budget. But to me, the premium touches and the thoughtful design make this board a very compelling option. Nevertheless, I would have liked to see the optional foam kit included, even if it added a little bit to the overall cost, because that would add yet another layer of customizability for the ultimate enthusiast board. Now don't get me wrong, the Ellipse is a great board, and I'm planning on joining the group by myself so I can use it as my new tester board. I'm a big fan of Funderburker, now Skepur, as a designer, and the Teemo V2 has a permanent place on my desk because of its usability and form factor. But purely from a value perspective, the explosion of high quality 60% at low prices makes it hard for me to recommend the Ellipse if you're just getting into the hobby. So who is this board for? Considering the Alexa group buy has long concluded and you'd have to find one in the aftermarket, the Ellipse is the only board that I know of that offers this level of customizability. So the bottom line is, if you like the idea of having 4 boards in one, and you like the design, you should definitely consider joining the group buy, which is running until December 16th at Canon Keys and various international vendors. Check out the links below and check out some more keyboard content here. I'm MakerMods, and I'll catch you in the next video.